Well, the completion of the Performing Arts Center, the entire campus, that means that we will now have 3 venues up and running 24/7. And we will be able to attract, we estimate, close to 250,000 people to this campus on an annual basis. The differences between the 3 venues are very exciting to me. The Palladium, which is where we're filming right now, is a 1,600-seat grand concert hall. It's designed to be acoustically perfect, primarily but not exclusively for classical music. And we will present mostly music events in here of all different genres: classical, jazz, country, blues, bluegrass, etc. Some dance. We really won't do theater or opera here. And then the studio theater is a very special 200-seat black box, and we will use that as a space to showcase emerging artists and to also showcase artists who perhaps could be in the Palladium, but we want to create a special level of intimacy. So, for example, Michael Feinstein could perform here in the Palladium, but he could also perform in a cabaret style in the studio theater, which is very exciting to us. The final venue, which opens August 6th, is the Tarkington, the 500-seat proscenium theater. And because it's a proscenium theater, that means we have wings and flies, so we can have scenery that goes up and down and all around. We can have actors and dancers moving about and disappearing into the wings. We can do things theatrically that you can't do in the studio theater or in the Palladium. And while I can't present a 100-piece orchestra on the stage of the Tarkington, I can present chamber orchestra or small jazz ensembles or piano recitals or great dance companies. So each venue is unique for a specific style and scope of art. And our game plan is to eventually have all 3 venues up and running at the same time. On any given night, just like the Kennedy Center, we will have performances where we have the Tarkington full, the studio theater full, and the Palladium full. So that could mean we have the Cleveland Orchestra performing at the Palladium, and perhaps Kevin Eubanks performing at the Tarkington, and a Van Cliburn Festival winner performing in the studio theater, all reaching different audiences on the same night. What's also exciting about the 3 venues is we have 7 resident companies. 2 of our resident companies use the Palladium exclusively: Carmel Symphony Orchestra and the Indiana Wind Symphony. The other 5 resident companies sort of split their time between the Tarkington and the studio theater. The Civic Theater is the primary resident company of the Tarkington, and they'll spend about 70% of their time in the Tarkington. And then the other resident companies will sort of divide up the space. So again, on any given weekend, we could have performances by a resident company in the Tarkington Theater and in the studio theater, and then something else happening here in the Palladium. So it's very exciting. The resident companies benefit because we're able to provide them with a stable home. It's very important for any performing arts organization to know where they're going to be, not only from month to month, but we can help them plan years into the future. When we do our planning, we sit down with the resident companies, and they get right of first refusal on all dates. So we ask them to work with us and to plan 3, 4, even 5 years into the future. After we secure those dates for the resident companies, then I go out with my team and we book all the different performing arts activities for the 3 venues. So it guarantees them a permanent performance home. In addition to that, because of the sophistication of each of the 3 venues, we can supply them with a lot of what we call theatrical firepower. We have an incredibly sophisticated lighting, sound, and rigging system, really in all 3 venues. And that allows these artists to present the finest in theater or dance for the community. There are lots of volunteer opportunities. All of the ushers are volunteers, and we estimate that we're saving about $300,000 a year in paid labor if we didn't have the ushers. Because the Palladium is really a uniquely, I'll even call it complicated facility, it requires about 50 ushers a night, just in the Palladium. So between the Palladium, the Tarkington, and the studio theater, there are wonderful opportunities for volunteers. In addition, we need volunteers to help us to give tours of the campus. So those are the 2 primary areas, and they can sign up on our website, and all volunteers do go through an interview process, but we take volunteering very seriously, and for us it's a further extension of customer service. Of course, the other way people in the community can get involved is by buying tickets and making contributions. It's very important for us that people support these incredible venues. Our goal is to create a communal, almost mystical experience between the artist and the audience. And if people leave here with a more enriching, having a more enriching time, feeling better about themselves and the world, if we have created perhaps we've challenged them artistically, then I think we've done our job. By their living room, I mean a sense of intimacy. We're bringing some of the world's finest artists to their living room, and we can consider these three venues their living room. Were it not for the Palladium or the Tarkington or the Studio Theater, many of the artists that we're presenting would not only bypass Carmel, they'd bypass the state of Indiana. So we're making it possible for world-class artists to be experienced by the citizens of Central Indiana. And we know it's working. Our marketing research shows that we're reaching 142 towns just in Indiana. We're drawing audiences from Detroit, Chicago, Cincinnati, Louisville, from Eastern Illinois. So we're very, very proud. And that's just in the first 6 months of operation. My hope is that the arts community can work together. And by working together, we can broaden the audience base for everyone. I think it's very important for the local arts community to collaborate, especially on marketing, and to create strategic alliances where we can, to drive audiences for all of us. I also think that it's important for us to remember that we are creating a legacy for our children and grandchildren, and we're making Central Indiana a wonderful place to move to and to raise a family. And when individuals around the country, if not the world, or companies all over the world look for places to relocate, this will play a key factor in their decision. I think what's important to remember is that the performing arts are part of an evolving process. We are engaged, we're fortunate actually, to work in a profession that is thousands of years old. Not many people can say that they work in a profession that you can look back and rely upon thousands of years of history. So we are working with classical music and theater and dance, and what we will intend to do for the future is to commission original work. For me, that's very exciting. And in each of the three venues, we will commission original work in theater and dance and in music, which is it's very important that we breathe life into the repertoire of each of the genres that we're presenting, and I think that's very exciting. In addition, we've created an arts education program that's going to reach probably hundreds of thousands of kids over the next several years, and adults. We need to create an audience for the future, so we work very closely with local school districts and with adults to educate adults about the performing arts, not in a paternalistic sense, but to just say, to provide some additional information. I think it's crucial that we provide opportunities for young people to experience the artists we're presenting. We'll take our artists out to the school districts, and then to have those artists talk to the kids right here in the halls that we're performing in, and then to have the children experience for themselves, or the students experience, the actual performance. It's very exciting to watch it happen live in front of you. It's very exciting to create those opportunities for audiences and artists to intersect. Artists live to perform before a live audience. That's what they love to do, and we're creating lots of opportunities for them to make that happen.